Welcome, everybody. Welcome, fellow patriots. Welcome, fellow deplorables. Welcome, all you dregs of society. Welcome, all you rock dwellers, you sycophants, you stinkos, and all you hateful people who celebrate the president, who love America. You know, you're always welcome here. And this is the Conservative Commandos radio show. I'm Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. And joining me as my co-host is the patriot from the battle-born state, the silver state of Nevada, and that's Sharron Engel. Sharron, welcome back to Conservative Commandos.
Thanks, Rick. And, after this last weekend, we feel more embattled than ever. We're in the conservative part of Nevada here. Used to be a red area. Our congressman from this area has never been anything but a Republican. But we have a Democrat mayor and a blue city council. And this weekend we had riots downtown in Reno. Just quite appalling. Although I think their anger was directed perhaps in the right place because they attacked City Hall. That's where the mayor is. She wasn't there, of course, on the weekends. She doesn't work on the weekends. But they busted through the glass doors and windows at City Hall and set fire to the lobby. They also attacked a reporter. So here we go. They wrote all kinds of things in graffiti all over the walls of that, and then they proceeded on down to the police department, which is only a few blocks away from City Hall, and they attacked the police department as well. I thought these were interesting statements. So here's what comes from our mayor. When they've attacked City Hall now, they've attacked the reporter, and they've attacked the police department. And she says to them, "We in the city of Reno will not tolerate any excessive use of force by our police department or anyone else." By our police department. And then
Sharron, that statement fuels this. It's like throwing gasoline onto a fire. Oh, you're going to stop the police? Well, guess what? We know the Best Buy. We'll go visit the Best Buy and come back with the new big screen TV. We'll go to the CVS. We'll go to the Walmart. Oh my gosh, Sharron, it's ridiculous.
Okay, so here's the next thing that happened. So rioters are throwing rocks and bricks and bottles at the Reno police officers. And the sheriff says, "Please, for the safety of yourself and your family members in our community, go home peacefully." And then the chief of police says, "Please go home, avoid arrest, stay safe." It's like, what? What are you guys saying to these folks that's going to make them go home? They're not going home just because you asked pretty please with sugar on it. Come on.
Right.
But anyway, finally they called out the National Guard, and I guess that kind of stopped a few things from happening. But still, we had quite a lot of cleanup here. And, as I was watching across the nation, Philadelphia was one of the hardest hit cities with this. And you live just across the bridge.
We do. Well, the good thing is, Sharron, the bridges have been closed. The Ben Franklin Bridge from Philadelphia to New Jersey has been closed. They said it's going to be closed for the foreseeable future until all this calms down. And this is just disgusting, Sharron. I hate to think what's going on in America today. I saw something that I pulled off the internet, and I'll read parts of it. The American Bolsheviks has started the revolution. Patriots, it's time to defend our nation from communism. This has nothing to do with race. This has nothing to do with race and everything to do with destroying the American Republic with a communist revolution. As the White House is literally under siege, patriots, it's time to defend the country. This has been long planned. They've been building up this for years. Now they are executing the plan and won't stop. The Russian hoax, impeachment, the Chinese virus didn't work, and now massive violence in the streets of America. This is the American useful idiot left, being pushed, funded, enabled by globalists like George Soros and that of the Communist Chinese Party. Sharon, with that, I would say, I'll quote a great American Forrest Gump. Stupid is as stupid does. These people who are so angry at their mayors, these people who are so angry at their police departments, I think their anger is in the wrong place, Sharon. They should be angry at themselves. Why? They are the ones who continue to elect these Democrat politicians in all these major cities that are under attack. They are so loyal to electing Democrats. That's who hires the chiefs of police. That's who sets the policy. That's who's not keeping their homes and businesses as well as their persons safe. Who should they be mad at, Sharon? I think they should be mad at themselves.
Well, and I think that in a lot of ways they're useful idiots. If we want to carry that stupid is as stupid does a little farther, because here's what Colin Kaepernick, he's one of my favorite people. And I say that tongue in cheek.
Aren't you alums of the same college there?
Yes. But my husband reminded me that he came here from California. He didn't grow up here, so I don't have to claim him as a Nevadan. And that gave me a bit of solace. But on Friday, Kaepernick's Know Your Rights Camp organization announced a partnership with defense lawyers in the Minneapolis area to establish legal funds to pay legal fees of any protesters arrested in Minneapolis. And here's what Colin Kaepernick said: "In fighting for liberation, there's always retaliation. We must protect our freedom fighters. We started a legal defense initiative to give legal representation to freedom fighters in Minneapolis, paid for by Your Rights Camp." It's just, there's guys like him, and then there's these crowds on demand groups. They're a business that provides crowds on demand. So you pay for a crowd, and they pay them $15 an hour to come into your area and build up a crowd and do whatever you need. If you need a campaign crowd, they can provide that. If you need a crowd for your business so that you can kick it off the ground and say a lot of people are showing up, they'll do that. And they even do protests, crowds on demand. It's just amazing to me, how many people are now making money off of this. Here's this one, Joe Biden on the Act Blue. It's a fundraising group for the Democrats, raised $60 million over the weekend. So, it's all about the money.
That money
We keep saying follow the money trail, and here it is. Right down from Colin Kaepernick to these businesses to these. The Minnesota Freedom Fund is another one. $20 million in a matter of days.
Wow.
So,
Sharon, I'd like to know if any of that money is coming from overseas.
Well, they have to declare it. They will have to declare it, I believe. So, most, if you get a 501c3 or any other kind of a donor-based um, nonprofit, you have to tell who your donors are. So I would say we'll know, but it's kind of after the fact. Who cares?
Yep.
Will somebody follow along or not?
Yeah. Sharron, let's do our break because on the other side, we've got three great guests to talk about here today on the Conservative Commandos radio show. And that's what you're watching and listening to. I'm Rick Trader. My co host is Sharron Angle. Don't go away. We'll be back with our guest list right after this break. But today's show, like all our shows, is brought to you by the First Amendment, protected by the Second. We'll be right back.
Mom, thank God you're gonna be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. But when I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm gonna call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page Publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing one-day bath and shower remodeling. The complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
And once again, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show. My co-host today is Sharron Angle. I am Rick Trader, and the hallmark of our show being our great guests. We have three more of them for you to meet and greet today. And Sharron, who are they?
Well, our first guest is Matthew Whitaker, who is the former acting Attorney General of the United States and Chief of Staff of the Attorney General of the United States and a U.S. Attorney. And he's going to be talking to us about Antifa and the declaration of Antifa as a terrorist group, and also about his book, Above the Law, The Inside Story of How the Justice Department Tried to Subvert President Trump. Our second guest is Dr. Gerard Lamiero, a favorite here on our show because he prognosticates. He gives us the future, and by golly, he's pretty accurate. He's still predicting that Michelle Obama will be the Democrat nominee and isn't backing away from that. We're going to ask him about that if that still holds true, plus other predictions that he has made here recently. And our third guest is Mark Walters, who is the National Board Member of Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms and a broadcast media spokesman for the Second Amendment Foundation. He also is a radio talk show host for Armed American Radio's Daily Defense. He is going to talk to us about Biden's team is fueling gun sales, calling for releasing rioters without bail.
Incredible. Sharron, I know you've got some lawsuit news involving ballots, but before we do that, I just wanted to follow up on what we were talking about in the first segment as far as the riots. And when the chickens come home to roost, it's not always pretty. Progressive newspaper reporter shocked to learn liberals aren't exempt from riot violence. A reporter for a progressive newspaper was shocked on Sunday to learn her place of business wasn't exempt from left-wing violence just because they're liberal-leaning themselves. Another tragic example of chickens coming home to roost. Indie Weekly reporter Leah Tars posted photos of the small publication's office in Raleigh, North Carolina. Its windows smashed out. Its office is decimated by violent rioters who have taken to the streets of many American cities this week to wreak havoc. And she says, "I'm devastated." This is the reporter, Laura Torres. "I'm devastated. We are a progressive newspaper. Last night I was inside when the first brick was thrown." There's some also ugly news. Sharron, Antifa rioters defaced the World War II Memorial and the Lincoln Memorials in Washington, D.C. Two beautiful spots honoring the World War II veterans and Abraham Lincoln, of all people. Lincoln, who freed the slaves. Spray painted with some of the most, I would post it up on our website, Sharron, but it's some of the most nasty, dirtiest words used you can ever imagine. And this is what this has gotten to be. This is what it's turning to be. Has nothing to do with this man that was killed by the police in Minneapolis. Sharron Angle, the Best Buy in Deptford, New Jersey was attacked. Okay? What did the Best Buy have to do with the death of that man? Zero. But what the Best Buy had was big screen TVs. I guess the rioters wanted to watch the riots on big screen TVs. It's disgusting, Sharron. This is not about race. This is not about the death of this man. This is just an excuse.
Sharron, I know it's a criminal excuse. It's an excuse to be a criminal, and sadly, there's no one doing much about it. In many cases, they're just wringing their hands and saying, "Go home,
please go home," and be safe. Please go home. Be nice little boys and girls and go home. Yeah, that really works.
Well,
that's like that stupid. Who was it? The stupid senator in California, was it Feinstein or Boxer, who said, "Well, if everybody turns in their guns, the criminals are going to turn in their guns too, because it's the only fair thing." Remember that, Sharron?
Yeah.
The stupidity of liberalism.
The only fair thing. Well, they They didn't have my mother. My mother told me that life is not fair. It doesn't work on fairness. There is no fairness is guaranteed to us by our Constitution. We do have we all are created equal, and that's our God that says you start out with being created equal with certain inalienable rights, but after that, it's not always fair.
Yeah, I guess a lot of people in their constitutional rights is the right to be stupid. The definition of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and over again with the expectations that the results will be different. I mean, this is what we're seeing. This is what we're seeing in the cities of America today, Sharron. I would challenge anybody to name the last Republican mayor of any of these cities that are burning. Sharron, we got 2 minutes left. I know you have some election.
Well, it's just another lawsuit being filed here in Nevada. We've had several lawsuits now. This will be the fourth, I believe, in the state of Nevada since they said that we would do mail-in balloting for our primary June 9th, which is coming up next week. But this time, the GOP has now sued the county commissioners for Clark County, that's Las Vegas, for all of those mail-in ballots that were found on the sidewalk because they were mailed out to inactive voters. 220,000 across the state inactive voters got mail-in ballots. And of course, the reason they're inactive is because they died, they moved out of state, they're illegal, they're in jail, something happened, and they're no longer voting, but they all got a ballot. And so here's the statement. Nevadans deserve answers as to how this largest county came to the decision to strike this shady backroom deal and mail thousands of ballots, including to inactive voters that have littered the streets of Las Vegas. So they're saying, there was a deal cut here. The county commissioners and the Democrat Party cut a deal, and it's shady, and we deserve some justice. So it's interesting.
Sharron, any chance that election's going to be stopped because of this? I mean, we had Hans von Spakovsky on our show yesterday, had a couple instances where elections were overturned because of voter irregularities, one in Florida, one in North Carolina, a couple of recent incidents. Your speculation about the possibility of this election being stopped?
I don't know. It looks like it's a fight that's been brewing ever since they said mail-in ballots. So, maybe Hans is right. Maybe we're the next to say this is not going to stand. But I would hope that these lawsuits are going to be successful, I guess, in restoring the integrity of our vote.
Sharron, we got to go into a break and get our next guest on. You are watching and listening to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle, yours truly, Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. Matthew Whitaker will be joining us. He's the former acting Attorney General of the United States, and we're going to be speaking with him about President Trump's authority to declare Antifa a domestic terrorist group. Don't go away. We'll be right back right after this break.
Attention homeowners, do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. And as a reminder for a rebroadcast of our shows, maybe you want to share it with a friend, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. You'll find a radio show there as well as our TV show. And with that, Sharon, we do have the first guest of the day on with us, and please make that introduction.
Well, it's my honor and my privilege to introduce Matthew Whitaker, who is a former acting Attorney General of the United States, Chief of Staff to the Attorney General of the United States, and U.S. Attorney. He earned his BA, MBA, and law degree at the University of Iowa and was a Hawkeye starting tight end in 2011's Rose Bowl. Now back in private life, General Whitaker is a frequent guest on Fox News. He has a new book, Above the Law, the inside story of how the Justice Department tried to subvert President Trump. General Whitaker, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
I'm very glad to be with you today. Thank you.
Well, we're always glad to have you, and especially today. Uh, in Reno, Nevada, which is not known for this. I mean, during the Rodney King riots, they were in Las Vegas. We don't riot in Nevada. This is not our MO. This is not what we do. And yet, over the weekend, we had riots, and our governor called out the National Guard, and we were told that these people that rioted had nothing to do with Reno, Nevada, that they were newcomers, that they had come over specifically to take part in protests here in Reno, Nevada. So when we talk about this, there's really growing concern, and I know the president is very concerned. And because of that, he has named Antifa or Antifa. Talk to us a little bit about those groups and how he wants to come after these groups for the unrest that they're causing in the United States.
Well, so there are several criminal statutes that can be made available and used against domestic terrorist organizations. And I know that there was a lot of hand-wringing and upset when the president said he was going to name them a terrorist organization. But, you know, what he meant is that the Department of Justice was going to pursue them as they would domestic terrorists. And we have a lot of experience at the Department of Justice investigating and prosecuting people that do these types of crimes. You know, the group Antifa is a very serious concern, but the challenge that that we face in investigating and prosecuting members of Antifa is they're very loosely organized. They're opportunistic. They don't have a command and control structure like you would see in some of the, you know, maybe terrorist organizations from 20, 30 years ago. And so, you know, we're going to have to use every sophisticated means to investigate. I was just talking to some friends in law enforcement today in several cities as to what they're seeing in the, you know, kind of groups. And it's very interesting. You know, you have the peaceful protesters that everyone should be upset about what we saw in the video of George Floyd being killed at the hand of the police. That is not acceptable. And, you know, obviously the law is going to be swift and just in that regard. And in response to that, we've seen peaceful protesters exercising their constitutional rights. We should encourage that and make sure that those rights are always protected. But there are two other groups that are just flat out criminals. That one are the folks that are causing chaos and destruction with violence, whether that's firebombing our businesses, whether that's breaking and hurting our, you know, front Main Street mom and pop shops. And then you have the looters, which is the third group. And there's a little bit of fluidity between the second and third group. But the looters are taking the opportunity to break in and steal things that are not theirs. And so in the second and third category, we need to make sure that law enforcement is supported in their mission, that law and order is brought back to our cities and in places like Reno or in Des Moines, Iowa, or other places, that people can continue to enjoy their neighborhoods and continue to enjoy, you know, peace and prosperity, like we were, you know, just coming out of this COVID crisis. We were just about to enjoy. I know that, you know, I was able to eat outside last night for the first time in a long time, and I took a great enjoyment of that. But I also know now, at, you know, tonight there's going to be potential vandalism and rioting, and so I think, you know, that's the challenges we all face, and we can't tolerate that. And so, you know, I know that the president has shown strength by calling out the National Guard and encouraging governors to call out the National Guard. And I think there's been several governors who have been slow to respond, mostly because of their budget challenges or their lack of leadership. And so, you know, that being said, Sharron, I really, you know, I hope that we can get control of our cities so that law enforcement can do their jobs. And we, you know, because I'm sickened by what happened in Las Vegas, for example. I'm sickened by what's happened in other cities where law enforcement are not only being targeted for violence, but also some have been killed or seriously injured. And that's not acceptable. That is not protesting, you know, and trying to seek redress like you would see by people kind of exercising their constitutional rights.
Well, it's kind of interesting. There's a couple of questions here. First, for law enforcement, our mayor didn't warn the protesters when she came with her statement. She didn't say, you be peaceful or we're going to bring every avenue of the law against you. She didn't say anything about that. She said to the police officers, you be careful that you don't hurt anybody when you're enforcing the law. And so what that does is it makes policemen back off, doesn't it? I mean, this rush to judgment, they haven't even had a real investigation of what happened there. They just have the videos. And now everyone has said, okay, that's what happened. End of story. We don't need a trial. What happened to innocent until proven guilty? I mean, there's just so much on the law enforcement side that is very concerning.
There is, and this is, this are major cities, which are oftentimes controlled by Democrat mayors and Democrat city councils that have undermined law enforcement, have, pulled the rug out from the police, to where the police and the fire departments and all the civil servants can't trust these elected leaders in these major cities to have their back. They run for the hills anytime that there's, controversy. And so, I have, I know, having been at the Department of Justice for 2 stints, one as a U.S. attorney and then as chief of staff at DOJ, together with being acting attorney general, they're clearly what we see on the video, and I agree with you, Sharron. I mean, there is due process. There is innocent until proven guilty, but there's also kind of, I do not lack reason and common sense to know that you can't put your knee on somebody's neck for 9 minutes or however long that lasted. And so, I mean, there will be a fair trial. There will be justice for Mr. Floyd, and that's the way the system works. But what is never justified is this violence that we're seeing by rioting and, again, anarchists that are trying to undermine, not only just our, conservatives' way of life, they're trying to undermine everybody's way of life, no matter what. I was looking at the first night of what happened in some of these cities, and it's just unjustified. Small business owners having their shops broken into, everything stolen. Sometimes while they were there, and I've been encouraged that there are some stories where people have stood their ground and defended their businesses and protected kind of their livelihoods, and unfortunately it's so widespread that the police there's not enough of a police force to protect every single business and every single street, and so that's the sad reality. I mean, look at what happened in New York City over the last couple of days. I mean, just roving bands of looters that were, kind of seeing where the police were deployed and then going to where they weren't and breaking into shops and stealing. And it's not America. It's not who we are. And I think this is where I expect the president's going to continue to exert his power, where these mayors and governors can't do their own jobs, and we'll have to use every tool in our tool belt and every law at our disposal to enforce the laws and bring order and civility back to our society.
Well, my second question along those lines is the protesters themselves. One of the Black Lives Matters protesters here in Reno said, we knew that there were people coming into our midst that weren't us. All of a sudden we had white men that were masked and wearing black, and we didn't know where they came from. Now, what is their responsibility when something like that starts to happen? Because they had a permit to protest, and when an element comes in that they aren't expecting and don't want, what's their responsibility?
Yeah, Sharron, I think we've seen examples where the peaceful protesters have pointed out these folks, whether capturing them on video, whether segregating them so that the law enforcement can focus on them. Because it is, they're very sophisticated at causing their chaos inside of these groups, hijacking sort of peaceful protest movements or a march, and then doing these acts of violence and depravity. So I really expect that as this continues, you're going to continue to see law-abiding citizens point out and capture on film or otherwise these people that aren't part aren't from there, aren't part of these protests, and really seek nothing other than to sow discord and chaos into our everyday lives.
We've been talking with Attorney General Matthew Whitaker about Antifa and the protests, and we are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, Net Talk America, and AM FM 24/7. I'm Sharron Angle. I'm here with my co-host, Rick Trader, and again, we are talking with General Matthew Whitaker, and he's written a new book that we want to talk about, Above the Law, the inside story of how the Justice Department tried to subvert President Trump. We'll be right back after these messages.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear! The debt suckers are here!
Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
And welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. I want to give a shout out to folks who are watching us as part of the AUN television network in Northern California, places like San Francisco, Sacramento, San Jose, Santa Rosa, wine country, Silicon Valley, all the way up to Redding. Our guest this segment is Matthew Whitaker. He's the former acting Attorney General for the United States, Chief of Staff to the Attorney General of the United States and U.S. Attorney. His new book out is Above the Law, the inside story of how the Justice Department tried to subvert President Trump. Attorney General Whitaker, thank you for holding through that break. Black Lives Matter seems to be a group that started out with good intentions. Have they been infiltrated by the likes of Antifa? And also, where do these groups get their funding? Where do they get their money? Could that be a source, a source for investigation, a target of an investigation to find out where the funding is and maybe under the RICO Acts?
Yeah, Rick, that's a really good point. I have seen successful RICO prosecutions of organizations. I think, the Black Lives Matter movement, you're right, started off with, I think, the best of intentions. It has, in some elements become radicalized in a way that I don't think the founders ever expected. And some of these groups, it is all about what their end is, and they're oftentimes, when it started, obviously there were criminal acts committed by members of the police that that were excessive, and that even the Department of Justice determined were excessive, and justice was done in all of those cases. We can always expect that the Department of Justice is going to sit above all of this and be fair and make sure that folks that commit crimes, especially civil rights crimes, are prosecuted to the fullest extent possible. I think where groups take a turn into criminality, they cause terroristic acts, plan attacks on law enforcement, plan attacks on property and lives of law-abiding citizens. I think that is an appropriate place to investigate, and where necessary, prosecute using all of the tools in the toolbox, all the laws that are in the books, because there are plenty of laws that prescribe all sorts of things as being illegal. So, Rick, I think you're right. I think there are groups that do need some law enforcement attention. Those things don't happen overnight. If you remember, I mean, literally a week ago, we were all talking about opening up and boat parties in Missouri and those types of things. And now this week, our major cities are under assault from chaotic protests that have elements of criminals. And the Department of Justice has propped up all of the JTTFs. I think there's 64 joint terrorism task forces across the country. All of those are working to make sure that if there are elements within these violent protests that should be investigated and prosecuted, they will. These, money and those types of things and investigations take time. And so I think, it's going to be, right now, it's a matter of keeping the lawful protests, protect their interests and protect their rights. But at the same time, where people need to be arrested for whether it's throwing, frozen water bottles, whether it's shooting guns at police or whatever it is, to make sure that we take care of those immediate needs, and then we can do the organizational prosecutions and investigations, in the time that it's going to take.
General Whitaker, depending upon who you listen to in the media, part of the media says that the president has the authority to declare them a domestic terrorist group, and the other side says he doesn't. What's your feelings about this?
I think, the people that say he can't declare them a terrorist organization do not understand what he's doing. And all the president is doing, the president is not suggesting that Antifa or any other group, but he specifically talked about Antifa, is a foreign terrorist organization that needs to be designated by the Secretary of State. I mean, that's not what he was saying. What he was saying is, this is a group that appears to be committing terrorist acts, and we need to use all of the statutes, including people that travel interstate to commit terrorist acts. And so, I mean, I think to me, it was very clear what his intention of saying that was. What, as a former Attorney General of the United States, I heard loud and clear what he expected from the Department of Justice and Bill Barr. So I just, again, the people that, sort of overreact to these situations and get hyper technical suddenly, when we need to bring these resources to bear. The other thing is, obviously it's a matter, Rick, it's very clear to me, it's a matter of resources. The president's saying to Bill Barr, to the FBI and others, that, you need to focus your resources on this group because they, and you can focus your terrorist resources, your domestic terrorist resources on this group. So I just, I see it much ado about nothing, and just, people that don't like the president, another avenue for them to criticize him.
Attorney General, the Insurrection Act of 1807 was used during the 1992 Rodney King riots in Los Angeles. Do you think the president should use the Insurrection Act?
Yeah, where appropriate. I don't think that, I think you should, in this situation where, what we're all seeing play out on our TVs during the early evening and late at night, I for sure, if we're appropriate, a federalization of the National Guard and the mobilization of the military to support law enforcement. Again, to not to complete a law enforcement mission, but to support law enforcement so that they can deploy their full complement of forces to address these violent acts. I think is certainly appropriate. I think this president is a law and order president, and he wants. He wants to respect the protesters that have grievances that have been, for too long. The protesters do not feel they've been addressed. And so I think this is a very important place where appropriate for the military to support law enforcement. I know that all of these police and National Guardsmen that have been out there for a week, they're all running on adrenaline and a lack of sleep. And again, any support that the military can bring,
under a lot of pressure.
Yeah, a lot of pressure to do it right. 100% of the time. And, I don't know about you, Rick, but if people were throwing frozen water bottles at me every night, I think I'd pretty soon I'd get kind of tired of that as well. So
I think so too.
Yeah, we need to appreciate everything that these folks that are trying to maintain law and order are doing for us.
Absolutely. Our guest this segment is Attorney General, or former acting Attorney General, Matthew Whitaker. He's got a new book out, Above the Law, the inside story of how the Justice Department tried to subvert President Trump. General Whitaker, Russian hoax, impeachment, Chinese coronavirus, and now massive violence in our streets. Think this is part of a conspiracy? All these are parts of a conspiracy to bring down the president.
Well, if they are, they're not doing a very good job. And whoever's running that has a lot of power. But, it is quite simple that what is happening in each and every one of these examples is that the media is amplifying stories that they believe are hurtful to the president. And they are ignoring or underplaying stories. Just think about the brief moment in time we had, Rick, between the coronavirus 24/7 coverage and the riots in our major cities coverage, where the story was about Michael Flynn and his prosecution and his kind of him trying to undo a real wrong that was done to him. And that quickly evaporated onto the next story that, again, was, did not shine, I guess what his critics would say, what the president's critics would say, not a good light on the president. But, from where I sit, this president is continuing to lead. He can't rely. He's learning quickly that he can't rely on governors in blue states. Look, if you look at Nevada, it's an example, but you also look at some of these, Michigan, some of these other states, New York, where these governors are failing their people, and where he's going to have to take federal action because they've for too long been mismanaged.
Matthew Whitaker, Above the Law, inside story of how the Justice Department tried to subvert President Trump. Attorney General Whitaker, do you think the president made a mistake by not following what Barack Obama did in as much as where Barack Obama fired every U.S. attorney and brought in his own people. Do you think if the president had things to do over again, go back to January 20th, 2016, that's the move he should have made?
Well, so there's been almost a complete turnover of the U.S. attorneys in all 94 of the districts. There's 93 U.S. attorneys for 94 of the districts. I was involved for the 18 months. I was at DOJ and interviewing a lot of these folks and helping them get through the Senate confirmation. I look at Jeff Jensen in St. Louis, Tim Garrison in Kansas City. There's so many really good U.S. attorneys in place right now. Nick Turtanish, who's a good friend of mine in Nevada, is another U.S. attorney that the president appointed. So I feel good about where we're at. I think Greg Scott up in Sacramento is another exemplary U.S. attorney who was a colleague of mine in the Bush administration. He gave up a very lucrative law practice to come back to be a U.S. attorney because it's such an important role. So I think there's a lot, Rick. I think there's a lot of good people, and I think a lot of them, not only support the mission of the current Department of Justice, but I think Bill Barr can trust them to do their job.
A lot of insight, a lot of background, a lot of knowledge in your book, Above the Law, the inside story of how the Justice Department tried to subvert President Trump. Attorney General Matt Whitaker, we want to thank you so much for joining us. How's the book doing?
It's been very, very well received. I was happy, even the left had to compliment me that it was well written and well referenced. So I'll take that, and it's a feather in my cap.
Well, you mean they didn't get the Facebook police on you and say you didn't use proper punctuation or something?
No, I only used one space after every period like we're supposed to now. So something that I've had to take me a long time to come around to that.
And please tell our audience where they could pick up the book.
Yeah, so I've been pointing people to Amazon as a place to get it. However, I'm reminded not a lot of, there are folks that don't want to buy from Jeff Bezos. So Barnes & Noble, Target, Books A Million, you can get a signed copy on Premier Collectibles. And you just go to my website, MatthewGWhitaker.com, to see all the options for buying it.
Former Acting Attorney General Matthew Whitaker, we want to thank you so much for joining us here on the Conservative Commandos radio show. Great to see you again, and take care, and God bless.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Sharron. Great to see you both.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader, coming to you from the studios of the Conservative Commandos radio network. On the other side, we're going to have a longtime friend of the show, Dr. Gerard Lamiero, join us. And he's going to give us an update on how he feels recent things in the news is going to affect the outcome of the 2020 presidential election. Don't go away. We will be right back right after this break.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. And once again, for rebroadcast of our show, be it our radio show or our TV show, the place to go is our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. While you're there, don't forget to like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. Well, Sharron, we've got another longtime friend with us, and the honor of that introduction is up to you, my friend.
It is an honor. He's one of my favorite guests, too. This is Dr. Gerard Lamiero. He is the author, philosopher, economist, and an engineer. He is an author of 5 books and is a popular TV and talk radio show guest. Dr. Lamiero was a member of the 1980 Presidential Electoral College and personally cast one electoral vote for Ronald Reagan for President of the United States of America. Dr. Lamiero accurately predicted a Trump victory long before most pollsters and pundits gave Trump even a small chance of winning the presidential election. Dr. Lamiero correctly predicted every state that candidate Trump actually carried in the 2016 election, and his latest book, Real World Socialism, is available at Amazon.com and other retail outlets, as well as Kindle and other devices. Dr. Lamiero, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Oh, it's great to be back with you. I love the show.
Well, we love having you here. Ever since January of 2019, I've been talking about you with regularity because you predict that the Democrat nominee will be Michelle Obama, and you're not backing away from that, are you?
Well, actually, for a while, I thought Bernie Sanders was going to get it, and my model switched a little bit, but then the Democrats changed the rules, and so now it appears that Michelle Obama will get it again. And maybe I should have stuck with that original forecast, but I do let the model vary as it will. And right now, Bernie Sanders has about 1,435 delegates. He needs 1,990, and he could easily lose on the first ballot. If he does, it'll open up the convention, and then I think the second choice of the convention would be Michelle Obama, and I think she would get it instead. So that's my current prediction, although they changed the rules at the last minute, so they could change it.
they certainly can.
Somebody else.
Well, I know Joe Biden has pretty much secured that nomination. Everybody's saying that. However, he isn't a very good candidate, is he?
No, and I don't think most Democrats think he can win. Despite the polls that are claiming he's ahead by 5 to 10 percentage points, even in key battleground states, my models don't show that. And I don't think he's ahead. I think it's similar to the polls in 2016 that were trying to say Hillary was ahead when she wasn't.
And the reasons are in this article that you've written that we're kind of going to refer to today, political trends and predictions.
Yes.
You talk about the trends that America voters really want a few things. And I thought it was very interesting that the top thing on their list is a return to faith in God, not government. And yet church is a non-essential entity in our society. So government is kind of tone deaf here, aren't they?
Oh, well, they are. And the Democratic Party is tone deaf, and they've been turning away from the typical American voter for years. And that's why they continue to see more and more conservatives elected. There's an overall conservative trend that I identified back in 2015 that went back further than 2015 and continues forward. I predicted a supermajority of conservatives on the Supreme Court. We're close to that now, and I think in Trump's second term, when he appoints 2 more conservative justices who support the Constitution, we will have a supermajority of conservatives on the Supreme Court. We're also seeing Trump change the nature of the the rest of the judiciary, the courts of appeals and the district judges. He has appointed about 200 conservatives there. He's done a great job. And the Senate has backed him up and put those people in office quickly. And that's going to change our jurisprudence for years to come, decades to come.
I want to read just a little sentence out of your article. It says, moral outrage over the arbitrary and capricious rules dealing with COVID-19 shutdown, for example. And then you name those arbitrary and capricious. I think you're right that America's had it up to here.
Yeah, they have. And they have been upset in prior elections. You know, in 2010, they were furious over the Affordable Care, I should say the Unaffordable Care Act, and they voted out 63 Democrats in the House lost. And there was a big turnaround there. They continue to be angry over different things, but all are quite similar. They're very upset with the deep state and how Trump has been treated. It was a president they wanted and they liked, and he's popular with the American voter, and he's been treated horribly. The Russian hoax, that continuing investigation, which we now see fraudulent, and we see, for example, that the Mueller should not have been appointed, and he probably knew right away what the results should have been, but he dragged it out and spent $40 million almost. And American people are aware of these things. They're not off just playing soccer with their kids and stuff. They know what's going on in between, and they've been irate. And they're irate over Ukrainian facade for the impeachment. And they're upset about the Democratic governors in blue states and Democratic mayors that are allowing right now the cities to be pillaged and riots to occur. These riots should not be occurring. They should call in the National Guard. Even Cuomo criticized de Blasio and said, that he should have done more. But even Democrats criticizing other Democrats, that's unusual. But basically, the American people are upset. They're going to vote quite a bit different than the Democrats would hope this fall. They're hoping Trump will be pushed out. It's just the opposite. He's going to be solidly reelected. He's going to take the House with him, and he's going to add to the Senate. So,
well, that's all really good news.
Yeah, they're going to get their chance to thank the Democrats for what they've done. And I have a feeling the Michigan governor, who would not allow people to buy tomato seeds in her state, is going to be a one-term governor.
Well, I hope you're correct about that, because it seems like they've taken Saul Alinsky's "Don't let a good crisis go to waste. They've taken that completely beyond
Well, they're
any
showing that
really effectiveness that it has for them, hasn't it? I mean, this is kind of backfiring in a real way.
well, what's happening is they're telling people who they honestly are. And the American people are saying these people are socialists, these people are radicals, some of them are communists, and all of them are anti-religious, they're anti, you name it, anti-freedom. And people are upset. They want their freedom. And I have a lot of, if you will, nuts and bolts data from the rank and file voters. They are really upset. You think they were angry in 2010, they are really angry now. And I think it's going to play havoc with the Democrats in the election. I think it's one step closer to the Democrat Party ending, which I've also predicted now for several years. And I think 2021 is the year it'll shut down as a party because they've gone too far away from the American people.
I know you did predict that on our show.
Yes.
Pretty soon after you predicted Michelle Obama would be their nominee. So these are in political time old predictions. These are things that other people weren't even considering when you said, "Oh no, look at this. This is what's going to happen." And you said at the time that there's a kind of a change in the demographic of the people that are upset.
Yes.
It used to be us older people that got upset about taxes, got upset about Obamacare, got upset and did tea parties. But now we see this demographic has really changed, and it's not just older people that are concerned about their constitutional rights.
Oh, absolutely. A lot of people are. They're very aware of it. And when people see their stores, small businesses being looted and burned and the windows broken and the articles stolen, it bothers them. They expect the police to be there. They expect the National Guard to be called in. And the fact the Democrats are overlooking it and saying, oh, well, it's probably good for them to vent. Well, if you're a business owner, you don't want people venting on your windows and burning your store down.
Right.
And so these people are out of touch. They've been so out of touch. And there's a day of reckoning, as people say. And there's a day of reckoning for the Democratic Party, and I think they're coming to the end of their history. Parties do not last forever. My example of the Whigs is very famous. They did very well in the 1800s, but they're no longer in existence. The Democratic Party had their heyday, and I think it's about to end. This is their last gasp.
Well, I hope you're correct with that, although you never know what you're going to get, because the other part of that prediction was that there would be some kind of a middle ground party, a progressive party populated by moderates in both parties, with Mitt Romney as leader.
Well, I think that's going to happen, Sharron. Voids tend to get filled. And the Democratic Party is going to be a void when it disappears, and people are going to go somewhere. The young socialists, the millennials who are socialists, they'll join the Socialist USA Party. But what about others? What about some people that want big government but don't want communism? Where do they go? Well, right now they look at people like Mitt Romney and some of those, traditional establishment Republicans. They look at the Bush family, Jeb Bush, and I see them as forming some type of other moderate party, but one that's American and believes in the Constitution. They just don't believe in socialism and communism.
Well, we've been talking with Dr. Gerard Lamiero about his predictions for the politics of this country. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, NetTalk America, and AM/FM 24/7. And now you can watch us on the AUN TV network and Northern California. I'm Sharron Engel here with my co-host, Rick Trader, and our guest, Dr. Gerard Lamiero, will be right back to talk about more predictions in just a minute.
Mom, thank God you're gonna be okay.
So relieved. But you both should know when my time comes, I have a final expense policy with Senior Care USA.
Is Senior Care USA the life insurance policy that helps loved ones pay for funeral expenses and other debts? Bill and I called to get more information.
Yes, and there's an immediate payout of up to $50,000.
If you're over 50, call Senior Care USA now to learn more about final expense insurance plans.
There's no medical exam, even if you have a pre-existing condition like I do. When I called, the quote was free, and there was no pressure.
I found out that policies start for as little as 35 cents a day. Rates will never increase and coverage won't decrease.
I'm gonna call today.
Ask about the free prescription discount card. Oh, I'm so glad you'll be taken care of.
Call 1-800-822-7419. That's 1-800-822-7419.
But is it? It's really just the beginning, right? Have you written a book and want it published but don't know where to start? You're not alone. Page publishing cuts through the confusion that most new authors face, like copyright protection, barcodes, printing, and digital uploading. We will get your book into bookstores now. We guide you through the publishing maze and help you distribute and sell your work in hard copy and ebook formats. That's right. We will digitize and place your book for sale on Amazon, Apple iBooks, and Google, offering it to millions. Don't waste another minute. Most publishers won't even look at new author submissions, but we're different. We review your book and provide you feedback in about a week. If we decide to publish your book, your work ends and ours begins. From copy editing and proofing to typesetting and book cover art, our team gets you into bookstores fast.
Call 1-877-461-5033.
Does your current bathroom need to be updated immediately? Introducing one-day bath and shower remodeling. The complete and hassle-free way to get the new bathroom of your dreams in as little as 1 day. And for as little as $199 a month. Yes, the experts at One Day Bath and Shower Remodeling will come to you anywhere in the country and show you all the customized options. Now you can have a brand new bathroom in as little as 1 day. Large or small bathrooms, if you want a new bathtub or shower installed, we can do it in as little as 1 day. And if you call right now, you can save $750 off your remodel. We make it easy by offering you financing as low as $199 per month. So for as little as $199 a month, you can finally have the bathroom of your dreams. Call now to schedule your free in-home consultation.
And once again, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Engel and yours truly, Rick Trader. And want to give a shout out to folks who may be listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida, Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, also in Arlington, Virginia. Our guest this segment is Dr. Gerard Lamiero. He's an author, philosopher, economist, and engineer. His latest book is Real World Socialism. It's available on Amazon and other retail outlets, also a Kindle and other devices. Dr. Lamiero, thank you for holding through that break. You're always generous with your time with us, and we do appreciate it. Dr. Lamiero, is what we are seeing with the Chinese virus, the shutdown, and now these riots in the streets of our cities, even in Deptford, New Jersey, of all places, is this part of this real world socialism that we're looking at?
It is. There's two different ways of looking at it, but it's both the same sides of the coin, and that is there's a long-term socialism The Antifas are dedicated to overthrowing America. They're a revolutionary group. They don't want America. They don't want the Constitution. They don't want freedom. But in the short run, the Democratic Party, which advocates the same kinds of things, socialism, communism, and policies related to the two, they want to see Trump lose because he's the biggest roadblock they've had. If Hillary Clinton had won, we might have been a socialist country by now because they would have been able to complete the takeover and the deep state and all their nefarious activities would have been hidden. Look at what has come out about how they've misused FISA. They've done all sorts of things to hurt individual Americans, members of the Trump campaign, and even going so far as to try to prevent a newly elected president from getting accurate intelligence and that. So we have people that want to prevent, prevent the Constitution from continuing long term, but we also have people that want to basically push socialism in the short term. And this virus is one way to shut down the country, and I think the riots are another way. And also there's another reason, I think, for the riots, and that is that the Black American votes have been moving more and more toward Donald Trump. In the past, Black Americans almost 100% voted for the Democrats. Well, Trump got 8%, and that 8% was enough to put him in office and win the Electoral College. It pushed him over the edge, the tipping point. And right now, prior to this riots, he was going to get 42% of the Black vote. So why not stir up a crisis to make all blacks think that everybody's racist, he's a racist, you can't elect him, because they're trying to create a problem. Black Americans are happy. They've had the highest unemployment they've had in their history. The Democrats have promised things for years, but delivered on nothing for the Black Americans. But the Black Americans are smart enough to know Donald Trump has helped them. Same thing with Hispanics, same thing with other minorities. He's done a great job as president, and they know it. And you can't fool them. And these riots are a distraction. They're going to end, and the election's going to go forward, and Trump's going to win. Right now, I have him at 348 electoral votes, Michelle at 190. You only need 270.
Dr. Lamiero, I think that's down a little bit from Trump from one of your last predictions when you were saying 367, I do believe.
Right. Yeah.
Where do you see the difference? And also when you talk about Michelle Obama and the Black vote, I am not the prognosticator you are. Thank you. Got caught on that word. But I would think that a Michelle Obama at the top of the ticket would absolutely energize that ticket, would energize the Democrat Party, would energize the Black community. Am I wrong on those things? And where is Donald Trump lost a few the Electoral College votes in your view?
Well, it appears to me in the model that Michelle Obama is actually a stronger candidate than Joe Biden. And I see her picking up 2 additional states. And I think that's just the nature that she will pick up a few votes here and there. She will take some Black votes away from Trump that he might otherwise get. I mean, a Black person at the top of the ticket is a plus for Black Americans. They see themselves as, winning or thinking, well, she sympathizes with them. And so I think that's what it is, and that's the reason why Stacey Abrams wants the VP slot, but I don't think she's going to get that from Joe Biden. She doesn't have very much in the way of credentials. Michelle Obama, though, has the strength of the Obama machine, and they also have a lot of money behind them. They have a lot of supporters, and she is the number 2 most popular Democrat in the whole party. So that's the reason I think she'll get the nomination at the convention. But at any rate, the reason that the votes change is because Trump may be losing 2 states that she'll pick up.
And what are those states?
Oh, that's a good question if I tell you those things or not. I think I usually don't give out the individual state predictions on the air. You can sign up as a client, though.
All right. Well, you know, Dr. Lamiero, in 1992, someone said to me, it's the economy, stupid. It's the economy, stupid. However, you're saying socialism is the number one issue of this election, not the economy. I thought it would be in a way, because we had the roaring economy up to the Chinese virus and then the shattered economy after that. But you're saying socialism is still the number one issue.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, the economy is a socialism issue, because they want to basically shut down our economy with the virus, shut it down with the riots, and they want to shut it down in terms of the freedom. Trump is, unregulating one thing after another. They can't stand that. The fact that he's going to run to rebuild America, make America great again, was his old theme. It's his new theme, make America great again after the COVID virus.
Right.
And so it all surrounds, all the issues surround socialism, but it's also going to be an issue for another reason. And that is Trump is going to use it against the Democrats. He's going to say, you don't want to elect these people in the House who are a bunch of socialists. You want people who are pro-Israel, pro-life, pro-military, pro-tax cuts. He wants to give a tax cut next year. They don't want to do that. That's the last thing they want to do. They want to borrow more money.
I'm hearing governors and mayors all over the country calling for tax increases, that their coffers are empty, and we have to replenish. There's so much that we have to do, so many things we can do, but it's going to take more money. And where are they going to take that money? From our pockets,
Well, except there's no money to take out of our pockets.
Yeah.
I mean, the country has to borrow it to spend it. And I don't think the Chinese want to loan it to us. They're not very friendly these days.
No, they're not.
They really
we're not number one on their hit parade, are we?
No.
Dr. Gerard,
it all boils down to socialism, and Trump is going to use that as the number one issue he fights on. And he's going to win on it, too. Most people don't want socialism.
Well, I'll tell you when I stopped betting against you, Dr. Lamiero. It was the day before the 2016 election when you came on our show and said that Donald Trump was going to win in a landslide. And this is when we were still on the radio. So my eyes are rolling all over the place because everybody was telling us that it was going to be Hillary Clinton that was going to win in the landslide, except for you, my friend. And you hit it. You hit that nail right on the head, my friend.
By the way, I was on a TV show, I guess the next day, on election day, and they said the exit polls show Hillary has won. We'll give you one last chance to change your mind. I said, forget the exit polls.
That was
Donald
wishful
Trump
thinking.
is the new president.
That was wishful thinking on their part. Dr. Lamiero, we want to thank you so much for joining us on Conservative Commandos. Please tell our audience where they can get your book, Real World Socialism.
My book, Real World Socialism, and my 5 predecessor books are all available right now on Amazon. And you can go to any bookstore and order them if they're not in right there, because most bookstores can't carry every book.
Right. Dr.
Even
Gerard,
good conservative books.
They should. They should.
Yes.
Dr. Gerard Lamiero, we want to thank you so much for joining us. Take care and God bless.
You too.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. On the other side, we're going to have Mark Walters join us. He is the national board member of the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms. He also does a television show here on the AUN television network. And he's going to be talking with us about the Biden team is fueling gun sales, calling for releasing the rioters without bail. Don't go away. We'll be right back with our next guest.
Attention homeowners. Do you have a house that's in need of serious repairs? Do you have tenants that never seem to make their monthly payments? How about code violations, past due taxes, or maintenance costs you just can't afford? Then call my friends right now at Quick Cash Offer. They specialize in buying any home, no matter how ugly the situation. Turn that problem property into cash right now. It's just that simple. One call and you can get rid of that home headache forever. They buy the ugliest houses with instant closings, instant cash, and huge savings. Plus, there are no realtor fees, no listing fees, and no repair costs. Just cash in your hands for that painful property. They're buying a few more houses in your neighborhood this month. So take advantage of this cash offer and call Quick Cash Offer now.
855-296-8854. 855-296-8854. That's 855-296-8854.
Listen carefully. If your student loan debt is overwhelming you and things seem hopeless, we've got great news.
If you're still struggling with your student loan debt, there are government programs available that may actually lower your payments by consolidating your federal student loans. Just call us. We'll review your situation and work with you to consolidate your debt. In many cases, depending on your situation, we can lower your monthly payments in half or more. It doesn't matter how much you owe or how far behind you are. Even if you're in default, call us right now to find out how we can lower your payment in half immediately. You can stop the harassing phone calls and the wage garnishments. All you need to do is pick up the phone and call us right now. We can remove your default status, consolidate your federal student loans, lower your payments, and we can do it today. Stop worrying. This is a real solution that can help. So please call us right now.
Call 800-917-8671.
Are you over the age of 50? Want peace of mind and financial security for your family? Here's an important message to you and all seniors from the Final Expense Insurance Hotline. The average funeral costs about $7,000, even more. And the most government benefits will pay your family is only $255. That leaves your loved ones with a burden of paying your debts and funeral costs. Our plans start as low as $1 per day and will pay up to $30,000 for your funeral and other final expenses. There's no medical exam and you'll have lifetime coverage. Plus, your rates will never increase and your plan cannot be canceled regardless of your medical condition, as long as you make your premium payments. Get free information right now. Just answer a few simple questions and get approved right over the phone in just a few minutes. Call right now.
Call 855-221-7334.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
And once again, welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. And for a rebroadcast of our show, check out our website, ccrshow.com. That's ccrshow.com. Be sure to like us, friend us, and follow us on Facebook and on Twitter. And with that, Sharron, our next guest is with us, and the honor of that introduction's all yours.
It is an honor for me to introduce Mark Walters, who is a national board member of Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms and a broadcast media spokesman for the Second Amendment Foundation. He's a recipient of the 2015 Gun Rights Defender of the Year Award, and Mark Walters is a weekly national columnist for Ammo Land and the author of 3 books. Lessons for Armed America with Kathy Jackson, forward by Masad Ayub. Lessons for Unarmed America with Rob Pincus and forward by Ted Nugent, and Grilling While Armed. Mark is the host of 2 nationally syndicated talk radio programs, Armed America Radio and Armed American Radio's Daily Defense, heard on hundreds of radio stations across the country and seen on the AUN TV network. Mark, welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show.
Oh, thanks for having me back. It's an honor and a pleasure and a privilege. I hope everybody's doing well.
We are China virus free here.
It's crazy times. It's crazy times, isn't it? It's unlike anything we've ever seen, you know?
But we do have looters and rioters here in Reno, Nevada, which I have never really seen that kind of activity in Reno. We're not that town, and yet we've had it, and we've had some violence that led to death as well, which is really disconcerting, to say the least. Yeah. And it seems that the left is making money off of this. I just Googled, and Act Blue has made $60 million in donations over this. So no wonder.
Well,
Joe Biden.
You're in Reno, you know. I'm about 40 miles outside. I'm outside the perimeter, but nonetheless in the Metro Atlanta area where we've seen the same thing. My original hometown. I've lived there longer than anywhere else I've lived. I consider Tampa to be my home over all these years. It's where I lived the longest as an adult. It's where I got married. It's where my kids were born and so forth. Tampa's experienced this, a place you don't really associate that, that type of activity. But this is nationwide, and like you said, a lot of places who would never expect this. This isn't our town. This is happening. There's sinister forces at work in America today. When you combine the COVID, the lockdown, the putting millions, our government's putting millions of Americans out of work, and then the political discourse in this country with a 24-hour, 24/7 propaganda news media that's just bloviating hatred and left-wing propaganda. You put all of that in perspective, you put that all together, and then you combine that with what happened with Mr. Floyd, and it's a recipe for disaster. And this was predictable as the sun coming up. I didn't know when it would happen, but I have always felt, and I've talked about on my radio programs, that something like this could happen in America, and here we are today. It's sad and it's pathetic, frankly, quite honestly.
Well, and it seems to be a moneymaker for those that are encouraging this. That perhaps is the most disgusting part of it. Colin Kaepernick, he always comes up and has a play in some of this stuff. He said he's going to pay for the lawyers, the attorneys, to help these protesters that have been looting and rioting. Mm-hmm. And now we have Joe Biden saying that he'd like to see bail without, what is that?
Jail without bail, I guess.
Get out of jail without bail. Yeah.
Right.
So what is that all about? Why are they so excited about these protesters and what we see on television, if videos are any clue? And of course, they're using a video now in this George Floyd incident that's no court of law, no investigation, but a video. And so if that's our plumb line here for justice, there's certainly enough videos to condemn a bunch of protesters, I would think.
Well, you would think that there would be. Look, what happened to Mr. Floyd is an awful thing. The video was terrible to watch. I believe justice is going to be served in the case. However that plays itself out, it will be served, no doubt. But regardless of that, no one has the excuse. You protest all day long in America. That's what America's all about. You can protest. You protest anywhere you want to your heart's content. I make a living like we all do here off the First Amendment. I have a right to say what I want to say, and thank God I have the ability in the forums, large forums now with with television, live streaming, 2 national radio programs, and a new announcement may be coming up here in the next few days that will be some of the biggest news since I announced the inception of Armed American Radio, as far as our reach is concerned. But nonetheless, we all have that right to do that. The First Amendment gives us, doesn't give us, but recognizes our right as human beings to free speech. So I have no problem with that. What I can't stand is when I watch quote unquote news networks talking about more protesters getting violent. These are not protesters. These are rioters, lawless, criminal punks who hate this country. There's organization to it. There's depth to it. There's money involved. It's not spontaneous when you're, where are the bricks coming from? Where are the fire bombs coming from? This isn't spontaneity. This isn't a group of protesters walking down the street, getting angry, and then all of a sudden finding bricks in their pockets. These are professionals. They're all over the country. But at the same time, I don't want to discount the fact when I hear mayors in certain cities blame outsiders. I don't know that there are enough outsiders when we're talking this going on in hundreds of cities around the country. Yes, there are bad people that live in your city. And something else I'd like to mention as well, the vast majority of these are Democrat-controlled cities and have been for decades. And, we're seeing a lot of blame on President Trump, who's been in office for 3.5 years. I've had some spirited conversations publicly with individuals I have tremendous respect for who will lay blame at Trump. It's on his watch. It's his dime. It's the buck stops here. That's a bunch of garbage. This is decades and decades and decades in the making that happened to be unfolding right now at this time in history while he is president. It could have happened at any time. If George Floyd if what happened with George Floyd had happened during Obama's administration or Bush's administration, I would venture to say the same thing would happen. The problem that we have here, again, is multiple folds. You have Democrat depressed control in these cities for decades that have kept millions of Americans from being able to succeed. They've kept people in poverty. They've thrown money at it. You're watching an utter collapse and failure of the Democrat policies in these large urban centers, number one. Number two, you combine that with the political discourse in this country as bad as it is today, and you put that in a 24/7 news cycle coming at people on all kinds of devices all day long, and then you combine that with the hatred towards our president from the mainstream press. Then you combine that with the racial strife that we have that started really when it comes with the war on cops with Barack Obama, the whole thing that led up to the beer summit and the war on cops that began during his administration that culminated with officers in Dallas being shot and killed, 5, because of that war on cops. And you put all of this together with what happened with Mr. Floyd and 30 plus million Americans being thrown out of work by their own government. This is a recipe for disaster. And as much as I hate to predict, this is going to be one long, nasty summer in America.
Yeah, I was actually praying for rain on those protesters the other night, and I don't like rain. I live in the desert for a reason.
I don't blame you. I've been trying to get to the desert. Scottsdale, here I come, but I still can't find it yet.
Well, the thing that is interesting about all that you said is we were a Republican-controlled red city for years and years and years, a bastion of conservatism. And it's only been in the recent past, last 5 to 8 years, that we've had Democrat control. Mm-hmm. And of course, they are warning the police to be very careful around these protesters rather than, as in Florida, I have to say that Polk County Sheriff, he named
Judd,
it,
yeah.
didn't he? Didn't he name it?
Yeah, Grady Judd. Grady Judd is interesting for a number of reasons. I'm a big fan of Grady Judd, but I've also been very highly critical of Grady Judd over the years. Grady Judd, he's been made famous for his very aggressive police techniques and tactics of going after child molesters and so forth. And he's made a great name for himself, and he's gotten a lot of very nasty, despicable people off the streets in Central Florida and from other areas who would travel to his area under that guise. So he's done great work there. But I've also played videotape when Grady Judd was the Florida Sheriff's Association head. His spokesperson stood up in front of the Florida legislature and made the following statement when the state was debating open carry of firearms and finally bringing Florida into line, at least making it possible to carry a firearm openly, at least with a Florida concealed carry permit. When that was being debated, it was Grady Judd's spokesperson who stood up when he was the head of the FSA and said, Grady Judd and the Florida Sheriff's Association support the right to bear arms. We support the Second Amendment. Owning a firearm is a right. Carrying a firearm is a privilege. We oppose this bill, and I thought, what? First of all, there's no but in the Second Amendment, and second, the Second Amendment protects the right to keep and bear arms. So Grady Judd actively fought against the open carry of firearms. Now, of course, he made the statement that you're referring to now that said, look, our citizens are armed. If you're coming down here looking for trouble, you're going to get blown away. You're going to get blown back through that door. And that's fine. And Grady Judd gets a lot of press for that. But at the same time, it was Grady Judd, I don't forget that fought against us in open carry in Florida. And as a result of that, and among other things, we were unable to secure the ability to open carry down there in large measure because of the Florida Sheriff's Association headed by him at the time.
We have open carry here in Nevada, and of course, one of the deaths in Nevada was to a fellow that was open carrying, but it wasn't the open carry that caused the problem. It was him drawing that weapon on an officer. So, there are limits to open carry too. That doesn't give you a right to kill. We are coming to you from the Conservative Commandos Radio Network studios and around the world on the internet with TalkStream Live, iHeartRadio, TuneIn America, Net Talk America, and AM/FM 24/7. We can also be seen on the AUN TV network in Northern California. I'm Sharron Angle. I'm here with my co-host, Rick Trader. We've been talking with Mark Walters, who is the radio spokesman, the radio host of Armed American Radio, and also can be seen on the AUN TV network. We've been talking about Biden team is fueling gun sales and calling for releasing rioters without bail. We'll be right back after these messages.
Are you a veteran and are you a homeowner? Then think Streamline and maybe save yourself a few $100s every month on your mortgage. A VA Streamline refinance. It's called a rate reduction loan because mortgage interest reduction is exactly what it does. It's just for veterans and it lowers your mortgage rate so you can save on mortgage payments every month, every year. That's a lot of money saved. And it's so easy to qualify. You don't need pay stubs, a W-2, or bank statements. You don't need a home appraisal. It's fast and easy to apply. And mortgage interest rates are very low right now. So a VA Streamline refinance makes it super easy and super affordable to take advantage of this opportunity and really cut your monthly mortgage payments. Veteran and homeowner? Call us to find out more. 888-893-7491. 888-893-7491.
Do you have an idea for an invention, but you don't know what to do next?
How do you get in front of companies or get a patent?
Call InventHelp. They've been helping inventors just like you for 35 years.
And thousands of people contact them every month.
With 65 offices, you can meet with an InventHelp representative near you who will keep your idea confidential and explain their invention process step by step. InventHelp has helped over 10,000 inventors get patents. And they offer 3D animations and prototyping services to help demonstrate your idea. InventHelp's exclusive databank includes over 9,000 companies who have agreed to confidentially review new ideas, like yours.
Don't wonder what to do next. Take action right now and get the help you need from InventHelp.
InventHelp. Call today for free information.
800-880-2937. That's 800-880-2937 now.
Is your credit card debt driving you batty? We're going up! Just like your credit card fees and interest rates. To the top! With those sky-high payments! You can't forget about your debt. Always fear, the debt suckers are here. Are your payments sucking the life out of you? Just one call to Consolidated Credit can get the debt suckers off your back. Consolidated Credit will lower your interest rates, consolidate your bills into one easy payment, and get you out of debt fast. Call Consolidated Credit and get your life back.
Call 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213. That's 1-800-201-8213. 1-800-201-8213.
When debt is the problem, Consolidated Credit is the solution.
Because debt sucks!
Attention Viagra and Cialis users. Are prescription drugstore prices too costly? Get 50 generic pills for only $99. That's right, 50 100 milligram generic Viagra for only $99. Our products have the same active ingredients as the brand name products. Money back guaranteed if you're 100% not satisfied. Get 50 generic pills for only $99. Order now and call the number on your screen. Have your credit card ready.
And welcome back. Welcome back to the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. Want to give a shout out to folks who are listening to us on radio stations in Jacksonville, Tampa, and the Villages, Florida. Las Vegas and Reno, Macon, Georgia, Lancaster and Pittsburgh, Boulder and Colorado Springs, Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Long Beach, California, Arlington, Virginia, Washington, D.C., and also seen on the AUN television network. That gentleman with the cup of Defender coffee, his name is Mark Walters. He's a national board member of the Citizens Committee for the Right to Keep and Bear Arms. Spokesman for the Second Amendment Foundation. He's also the host of the Armed America Radio and Armed America Radio's Daily Defense Fund, which is seen on the AUN television network. Mark, thank you for holding through the break. We appreciate your time. Mark, we've seen in this disaster that's taken place on the streets of America some very, very interesting videos. One was right outside a bakery in Cleveland, Ohio, where three very large men were standing there confronting a mob with three very large rifles.
Right.
That mob passed by. We also saw the story in Philadelphia that a gun shop owner, his gun shop was being broken into by four people. One of them never walked away because that individual drew on this gun shop owner. The gun shop owner pulled the trigger, killed the guy.
Yes.
You've written a couple of books.
Yes.
Lessons from Armed America and also Lessons from Unarmed America. How do those books relate to what's going on in the streets of America today?
It's a great question. Thanks for asking it. The first book, Lessons from Armed America, details stories of true crime, as you know, are not new. What we decided to do was take a look at some recent stories of Americans who were armed and found themselves in the worst moment of their lives, yet had a gun to defend themselves. And then what we did was we had a trainer. In the first case, my co-author Kathy Jackson came in with me. Behind that story, I wrote the story of the self-defense, and then Kathy came in behind me and penned up the response to that. We broke it down. It was a really tough position for her to be in, to kind of break down what happened, what somebody did, maybe right or wrong, or could have avoided the whole situation altogether, and not had to have been in that position maybe. So, to go back and pick apart the worst moment of somebody's life is tough to do. I didn't envy her job. She did a remarkable job at it. It had never been done in that format before, where we would tell the story and then analyze what happened from a professional perspective. And in Lessons from Unarmed America, we did the same thing, but we had stories of individuals who found themselves facing difficult, terrible, worst moment of their lives, and they were unarmed. And then Rob Pincus came in, one of the best trainers in the nation, came in behind me and broke that down. Could this have been avoided? What could this person have done better or differently, and so forth? So you've got both sides of the spectrum there, where you've got a gun, you don't have a gun. And I'll tell you what, in every instance, the first story in the book is my own. I had a gun in the worst event that happened to me, and thank God I never had to pull the trigger. But it's chapter 1 in the book is my own story, when I was accosted by two individuals who were attempting to carjack a vehicle off of my front left bumper at a traffic light, in Tampa, Florida, at the corner of Fletcher and Nebraska. If you're watching or listening there, you know where I'm talking about, especially those of you in Florida. And fortunately for me, I had a firearm. I was able to draw on the individual that couldn't get into the other vehicle, walked towards me. I had a firearm. I used it. I didn't have to pull the trigger, and that ended the situation. How does that relate to what's happening today? It's all connected, because Americans have a right to bear, as we have a human right to bear arms to defend ourselves. Let's make that very clear. The Second Amendment merely recognizes that pre-existing right granted to us by God, not by men, not by women, not by a constitution, but by natural law, and it's recognized and codified in our founding documents. And we see the Second Amendment in action with the examples that you just mentioned today, and we see the Second Amendment in action all over the country. Unfortunately, the news media is not covering much of it. They do when their cameras are rolling and it's caught on tape, but they don't go out of their way to point to the fact that armed citizenry are actually helping stop an awful lot of this in today's day and age. In other words, it probably could be a lot worse if it wasn't for armed citizens, and certainly would have for the individuals in that situation you mentioned in Cleveland.
Mark, the police cannot be everywhere. It is just impossible. And even if they weren't responding to riots, to fires, to break-ins, everything else that's going on,
right?
Unless you live right next door to a police station, it's going to take 5, 10, 20 minutes for the police to arrive to your scene. If your house is being broken into, if somebody is threatening you.
Right.
And where I'm going with this is the Biden team fueling gun sales. We've heard the story before that how Barack Obama was one of the greatest firearms salesmen of all times, and this incident was the greatest seller of firearms. Talk about what Joe Biden is proposing and how it's fueling gun sales.
Yeah, well, you know, gun sales rise, as you know, Rick, and as you know, Sharron, every time there's a perceived threat against gun rights. In other words, every time a Democrat gun grabber opens his mouth when he or she is in a position of power or authority, we see gun sales skyrocket. We see it, unfortunately, after tragedies such as Parkland or Newtown. You pick an event like that. Anytime we see that, the rhetoric amps up from the left and gun sales go up. You mentioned Barack Obama. Barack Obama could look at a firearm and its sales would go up. But that didn't occur until his second term. As we had predicted, he was very, very quiet in his first term. And it wasn't until his second term that he started going after guns. I would have thought that Biden would have been a little bit smarter, quite frankly, but I don't really want to get into too much what I think of Biden right now. But the fact of the matter is...
Oh, Mark, don't hold back. What the heck? You're among friends. What are you holding back for?
No, I won't say it. I'll just... What I will say is that I would have thought Joe Biden would have been a little bit smarter about this. But he really showed his colors when he
say, I'm not so sure about that.
Yeah, me either. I don't know if he remembers what he says anymore. But the fact of the matter is that when Joe Biden made the comment about, you know, hiring Beto O'Rourke of hell yes, we want to take your guns away fame to head his quote unquote gun control or be his quote unquote gun control czar, which is what he was alluding to, he put a nail in his coffin relative to ever picking up a vote outside of that. So that single issue voter is gone for him. Period. He can write that off. And more than likely it was anyway, but he did put the final straw on the camel's back with that one. So, you know, you're seeing a lot of similarities there, but which is really at this stage of the game because they've outed themselves, guys, as you know, over the course of the last year and a half, ever since Trump's been elected. We now know that we're right. We've known for years that they want to take our guns away. This is not about gun control. You know, they've hijacked the language and it's gun safety. They don't know the first thing about gun safety. I'm an instructor that can teach gun safety. They don't know the first thing about it, for example. National Rifle Association's been teaching gun safety for decades. They don't know the first thing about it. It's all about softening you up to come and take your firearms. That is what they want to do. They've admitted it. They own it. And as Alan Gottlieb, founder of the Second Amendment Foundation, said during the election, we're going to make them eat it. And we are, because we know what their agenda is. We have them on tape. The entire Democrat clown posse debate stage was a whole fiasco of we're going to come and take your guns. So I would have thought Biden would have been a little bit smarter than that, but I'm glad he's not. Leave it at that.
Mark Walters, National Board Member of the Citizens Committee for Rights to Keep and Bear Arms, also the Second Amendment Foundation. Mark, please tell our audience how they could find out more about the Second Amendment Foundation and Citizens Committee for Right to Keep and Bear Arms, and also your radio and TV shows.
Yes, great. ArmedAmericanRadio.org is where you can find bits about everything on me. Make sure to check us out on the Facebook, facebook.com/ArmedAmericanRadio, and you can watch the television show, the live stream. You can listen to the live radio broadcast from the Armed American Radio Video Network studios 6 days a week, Saturday, Monday through Friday, and of course the Sunday Monster broadcast. And of course the Second Amendment Foundation. We want you to join us at SAF, as in Second Amendment Foundation.org. You can find everything out there. You can register now for the Gun Rights Policy Conference, affectionately known as the GRPC, which will be taking place in Orlando at the end of September. We want to see you there. Last year was a record. We are planning on going off as normal with the Gun Rights Policy Conference this year. You'll see dozens and dozens of speakers and meet the grand poobahs of the gun rights movement who will be there, including Mr. Gottlieb himself. And you can register for free there at SAF.org. We need couch change to fight these lawsuits against the country that the Second Amendment Foundation is suing and fighting and winning on our behalf every single day.
Places like New Jersey, they're winning. Places like Pennsylvania.
That's correct.
Mark, thank you so much for joining us. Keep up the good work. I'm so proud to have you as part of the AUN Television Network.
Oh, thank you, guys. Proud to be there. Thanks very much for having me.
And you are listening to and watching the Conservative Commandos radio show with Sharron Angle and yours truly, Rick Trader. Sharron and I will be back with more right after this break.
Everybody wants cheap airfare, but where do you find it? You call low-cost airlines. Their prices are direct from the airlines, and they're so low you can't find these fares published anywhere. They specialize in cheap flights, discount hotel rooms, cheap car rental rates, and great package deals anywhere around the world. Wherever you want to go, they can help you get there cheaply and with a best price guarantee. If you want the lowest prices on your airline tickets or other travel services, call now. That's right, call. That's the only way to get these rates. Experts are standing by 24/7 to get you the cheapest airfare and hotel rates available. So don't wait. Call right now for the lowest travel prices anywhere and for great last-minute travel deals too.
Call 888-431-0562. That's 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562. 888-431-0562.
Dish TV is better than cable TV. Here's why. Dish has the nation's lowest TV price, along with an award-winning DVR that can skip commercials, record 8 shows at once, and get access to thousands of movies at your fingertips. Cable simply can't even compare. So the smart choice is to cut the cable and get Dish. Plus, you get all these great TV features, free HD DVR upgrade, free installation, and free movie channels. Say goodbye to cable and get more with Dish TV. 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. As an added bonus, you can switch to Dish now and receive a $50 Visa gift card. So call now and get Dish TV. Call 877-290-7764, 877-290-7764. That's 877-290-7764. Limited time offer, 24-month commitment and credit qualification required. Cancellation fee, monthly equipment fees, and other restrictions apply. Promotion can change at any time.
Friend, do you remember when it felt good to withdraw your cash from the bank to expand a business, go on vacation, or buy a new car? Well, today, withdrawing your own cash has become a very risky business, according to The Secret War, a shocking new research report. I just read it. And folks, I was amazed to learn why banks are now required to spy on us for the government and then report any suspicious or unusual behavior. I suggest you get The Secret War free. Just call the number on the screen, no charge, from the folks at Swiss America, and get this. Did you know simply spending cash today may be enough to have you branded as a potential criminal? That's right. The new war on cash is really a war against all freedom-loving Americans. The Secret War is yours free, so call the number on the screen and you can tell them Pat Boone gave you the number.
Well, Sharon, that just about wraps it up for today. I really want to thank you for sitting in as my co-host. I so appreciate you. And Sharon, for our audience who'd like to find out more about what you're up to when you're not here on Conservative Commandos, what can they do? Where can they go?
Well, they can simply go to my website, SharonAngle.com, SharonAngle.com. I want to thank our guests. They are what makes our show great every day. And we've had some great guests today. We had Attorney General Matthew Whitaker. He's the former Attorney General for the Trump White House, and he talked to us about the protests and domestic terrorism. We also had Dr. Gerard Lamiero on. He's an author, philosopher, economist, and engineer, and prognosticator, and he's the one that told us Michelle Obama is going to be the Democrat nominee, and he hasn't backed away from that even in our interview today. And finally, we had Mark Walters, who has joined the AUN TV family with his Armed American broadcasts. And we also had him on talking about Biden's team fueling the gun sales, calling for releasing rioters without bail. So great show today, talking about the relevant things and also the other side of the story. You know, we get a lot of fake news out there, and we like it when we have guests who have an expertise to bring, and the truth is always appreciated here.
Absolutely. You know, Sharon, one of the big stories is President Trump calling Antifa a domestic terrorist group. Who do we have on? Former Attorney General of the United States, Matthew Whitaker. I mean, what great guests we have here on Conservative Commandos, but that's what we do. But for right now, we are out of time and we got to run. We got to go. Take care. God bless. And we'll see you tomorrow on TV and on radio.